So we have yet another case of people being wrongfully convicted and they are now being free. And yeah, you know what color they are. Let's get into it. Baltimore to pay $48 million to 3 men wrongfully convicted for murder and imprisoned for, y'all, 36 years. Wow, for something you didn't even do. Wow. 48 million for 36 years. Y'all, before we even get into it, I feel like if I am wrongfully convicted of whatever the crime is, I don't care if I served 1 year. Each year needs $1 million bare bones, if not $2 million. Because then, and at the end of the day, some of this stuff's coming out taxpayer money anyways, but then I feel like there would be a huge oh, well, we can't just be locking people up. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Let me know what y'all think. But let's get into the story. Baltimore has agreed to pay $48 million to 3 men who were wrongfully convicted of murder as teenagers and spent 36 years in prison. Quote unquote. These are men who went to jail as teenagers and came out as young grandfathers in their 50s. Wow. Imagine losing that much life. 36 years. You know how much stuff you get done in 36 years? And you've been sitting in a cage. Alfred Chestnut, Ransom Watkins, and Andrew Stewart were 16 when they were arrested on Thanksgiving Day, 1983, according to the federal lawsuit they filed after being freed. They were charged in the murder of DeWitt Duckett, 14 years old, allegedly killed for his jacket in school. Y'all, this actually kind of reminds me of that one case of the guy who ended up later committing suicide once he got out because he was in solitary confinement. They would starve him, forget that he's there, neglect him, whatever. Okay, he was there for a long time, but he was accused of stealing the book bag and he didn't even steal it. They were convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. But they were declared innocent decades later after Chestnut filed a public records request. He discovered new evidence that was kept from his attorneys during the trial and contacted Baltimore's Conviction Integrity Unit, which was reviewing old convictions. Y'all, that's also another thing that gets me. How can you be, and this is what people say, what they say about lawyers, but how can you, to throw someone's life away, how can you just be like, well, let's try to conceal this evidence or let's do this, so we can win the case. Yeah, but an innocent person is going to prison. Well, I got to make them a couple of dollars. Let's continue. Investigators ignored eyewitness evidence and physical evidence that contradicted their chosen narrative, including evidence pointing to a different suspect. Instead, they shaped the evidence to implicate plaintiffs, including by coercing false testimonies from young witnesses. The trio's 2020 lawsuit said a John Doe who actually killed DeWitt and fled the school with his jacket had died, the suit said. On November 25th, 2019, 3 days before Thanksgiving, a judge granted the right of actual innocence jointly filed by plaintiffs and the state of Maryland and ordered their immediate release. Wow. All this time, 36 years. And let's continue. Baltimore City State Attorney Marilyn Mosby, by the time, said there was intentional concealment and misrepresentation of the exclusatory evidence that would have showed that it was someone else other than these defendants that they completely just ignored. Completely ignored. Wow. Now, like I said earlier, I feel like you should be getting $1 to $2 million a piece. And even that is not enough. Because you may be like, oh man, but $1 million, $2 million per. Yeah, but you lost 36 years of your life. 36 years of your life is what you lost. Well, they say 16 is when they were convicted of the crime. 36 years of your life has been lost for a lie, a complete lie. Another thing, why is it that you gotta because you have some people, these different organizations that will go and be like, okay, well, let's go and look through this kind of stuff again and make sure that, people have, that like their trial went through properly and whatnot. All the evidence was looked at and all that, like the Innocence Projects. But it's like, I get this so many, so it's like part of me is like, man, how come y'all can't do this quicker? But another thing is like, well, it is up to you to kind of submit it to them, because there are a lot of people in our in American prisons. We have the largest amount of people in American prisons, even though if you look at the rest of the world, we don't have that many people compared to everybody else, But let me know what you all think about this story. It's very upsetting. It's good that they came out, they were able to get out, but it's still a very upsetting story nonetheless.